According to the Poetry Foundation, fixed-form poetry must have a set number of lines, rhymes, and/or metrical arrangements per line. This is in contrast to unfixed-form poetry, which has little to no uniformity throughout the poem. An example of fixed-form poetry is Nothing Gold Can Stay by Robert Frost. Robert Frost claimed that the restrictions of fixed-form poetry worked in the favor of a poet in order to avoid an endless search of new poetry forms and alternative structures. In Nothing Gold Can Stay by Robert Frost, you can see the rhyme scheme at the end of each line throughout his poem. A sestina is a type of poem that has 6-line stanzas using patterns for the end words of your lines. You need to pick 6 end words, and you need to try to choose words that have multiple meanings or that evoke a mood, place, or season. You can change the form of the word for grammatical purposes if you need to. The main 6 stanzas should follow the prescribed pattern. The ending tercet is 3 lines long, using 2 of your chosen 6 words per line. You can vary the pattern of the last 3 lines as long as you use all 6 words, with 2 words per line. There are several variations of sestina, which usually expand or contract the length of the poem. A sestina usually follows a strict pattern of the repetition of the initial 6 end words of the first stanza through the remaining 5 6-line stanzas, culminating in a 3-line envoy or tercet at the end. Lines may be of any length, though it initially followed a syllabic restriction, which is a restriction on the number of syllables in each line.
An elegy is a long poem, tracing its origins to ancient Greece in the 3rd century BC, mourning the loss of a well-known and well-liked individual. Elegies typically consist of 3 stages. The initial stage, called a lament, includes an episode of grief towards the deceased subject of the poem. In the second stage, the elegy openly praises said person, and then, lastly, the speaker of the poem offers condolences and last respects. Nowadays, elegies are mostly written as feelings of personal loss instead of grief. Perhaps the most famous elegy ever composed is Elegy Written in a Country Churchyard by Thomas Gray. It is a very long poem, and the first stanza goes like this. The curfew tolls the knell of parting day. The lowing herd winds slowly o'er the lea. The ploughman homeward plods his weary way, and leaves the world to darkness and to me.
A haiku is a 3-line poem consisting of 17 syllables organized in 5-7-5 fashion. Haiku began in 13th century Japan as the opening statement in a ranga, which was a much longer oral poem. Some classic poets who pioneered the haiku include Kobayashi Isa, Yosa Busan, Matsuo Buso, and Masaoka Shiki. Notable modern poets that practice in haiku form include Robert Hass, Paul Muldoon, and Anselm Hollow. In modern haiku, many of the rules which previously dominated haiku may be omitted. Along with this change, modern haiku is typically written in English, while traditional haiku, having originated in Japan, was typically written in Japanese. The sonnet, which has been present since the 13th century, is typically composed of 14 lines. The first 8 make up the octave, which creates and presents the conflict in the poem to the reader, and the last 6 are the sestet, which offers a view on the conflict and may resolve it. A third unique part of the sonnet is the volta, which is typically at the beginning of the sestet and is unique in that it changes the tone of the poem. Sonnet is written in iambic pentameter and follows one of 2 rhyme schemes, A, B, B, A, B, B, A, C, D, E, C, D, E, or A, B, B, A, B, B, A, C, D, C, D, C, D. Shakespearean sonnets are unique in that they are written in iambic pentameter, but follow a different rhyme scheme that goes A, B, C, D, C, D, E, F, G, G. Modern sonnet continues to hold to the 14-line system, but often meter, rhyme, or both are omitted. In many cases, modern sonnets are only recognizable because of the 14-line system. This allows loose defining of what qualifies as a sonnet in modern poetry.